Like the pain came early, the rejection came often. The pressure never really let up. You look around and wonder, why does everyone else seem to glide through life while I feel like I'm climbing uphill every day? What if I told you, it's not random, it's not bad luck, it's not that you're broken, it's because you've been marked by heaven, set apart for something greater, carrying weight most people were never built to carry. And the heaviness you feel, it's not a curse, it's a calling in disguise. In this message, we're going to uncover the truth behind your pain, your pressure, and your early battles. Because once you realize why the enemy came for you so early, you'll stop feeling sorry for yourself and start walking like the warrior you were born to be. Have you ever felt out of place? Even as a child, there was something different about you. Not weird, not broken, just different. You didn't fit in the way others did. You questioned things no one else thought about. You felt emotions deeper. You noticed what others ignored. You carried burdens in silence and didn't know why. And maybe all this time, you thought something was wrong with you. But let me tell you the truth. You've been marked since birth. That different feeling, it wasn't dysfunction. It was divine design. Before anyone gave you a name, before your parents planned your future, before you even took your first breath, God had already written your assignment. Jeremiah 1:5 says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you." You weren't just born. You were sent. And when heaven sends someone, hell takes notice. That's why life has felt heavier for you. Not because you're cursed, but because you're called. Chosen people often feel misplaced in this world. Why? Because their spirit is tuned to a frequency most people can't hear. They're carrying destiny before it's time to be revealed. And that's lonely. That's confusing. That's heavy. But it's not random. It's because you're marked. Marked with purpose. Marked with calling. Marked with divine potential that hasn't fully awakened yet. And let's be honest, you've tried to be normal. You've tried to dim your light. You've tried to blend in, to belong, to be just like everyone else. But you couldn't, because heaven never called you to fit in. He called you to stand apart. And yes, that calling carries weight. Yes, that set-apart feeling can be painful. Yes, being marked can make life feel like a burden. But the burden is proof. Proof that you're chosen. The world saw someone strange. Heaven saw someone special. The enemy saw a threat. And God saw a vessel. So if life has always felt harder for you, if people never understood you, if you've always felt like you didn't belong, let this truth settle in your spirit. You were never meant to blend in. You were born to break ground. You were marked since birth. Let's talk about the weight, the invisible pressure, the emotional heaviness, the constant feeling that you're carrying more than everyone around you. Because here's the truth. Being marked comes with weight. Not everyone can feel it. Not everyone will understand it. But you know it's there. You wake up with it. You go to sleep with it. You walk through life with a burden in your spirit that you can't explain. And sometimes you've asked God, why does everything feel heavier for me? Why do I carry so much pain, responsibility, emotion? Why can't I just be normal? Because you're not. You're marked. You've been trusted with weight. See, some people walk through life with ease, but not you. Why? Because you're carrying something for others, not just for yourself. You carry vision. You carry discernment. You carry compassion. You carry the ability to see through lies, to feel the room, to absorb what no one else notices. That's not a curse. That's capacity. And capacity always feels like a curse until you realize it's a calling. Let me say that again. Capacity feels like a curse until you realize it's calling. Think about Moses. He didn't ask to lead a nation. He didn't want the responsibility, but he was marked, and so the weight followed him. Think about Jeremiah. He said, "I'm too young." But God said, "I've put my words in your mouth." David carried the weight of a kingdom long before he wore a crown. They weren't heavy because they were flawed. They were heavy because they were chosen. And you are too. So the reason your heart feels heavier, the reason your spirit feels stretched, is because God saw something in you, something stronger, something deeper, something greater. And he said, "I can trust them with this weight." But here's the good news. God doesn't give you the weight without giving you the strength. He doesn't assign you purpose without grace. Isaiah 41:10 says, "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." So yes, the weight is real, but so is the presence of the one who walks with you. You've been marked, and with that mark comes weight. But with that weight comes glory. Let's talk about something most people don't realize. The enemy saw you before you saw yourself, before you understood who you were, before you knew your name had weight, before you discovered your calling. Hell already knew. That's why the attack started early. This is why your childhood felt heavier, why trauma came knocking before you even learned how to pray, why rejection showed up before relationships ever got deep, why you were hurt by people who were supposed to protect you. Because the enemy recognized your mark. He saw the oil, he saw the calling, he saw the threat, and he said, "We need to stop this one before they ever rise." See, the devil doesn't fight fair. He doesn't wait for you to be ready. He attacks in your weakness, in your innocence, in your silence. Why? Because if he can plant wounds before you understand who you are, he hopes you'll carry confusion instead of identity. But let me tell you something. You're still here. After everything. After betrayal. After abuse. After nights of crying yourself to sleep. After all the lies that told you you're not enough. You're still here. And that alone is proof. The enemy failed. Or you were targeted early, not because you were weak, but because you were dangerous. And he knew that if you ever healed, if you ever woke up to your purpose, if you ever stepped into your full identity in Christ, you would become unstoppable. Look at Jesus. Before his ministry ever began, Satan showed up in the wilderness and trying to twist his identity. If you are the Son of God, it wasn't random. It was strategic. The greater the assignment, the earlier the warfare. So now, when you look back on the pain, the loss, the trauma, stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" Start asking, "What did the enemy see in me that he tried so hard to destroy?" And here's the truth. He saw power. He saw purpose. He saw destiny. But what he didn't see coming was your resilience. He didn't expect you to rise. He didn't expect you to heal. He didn't expect you to still believe. But you do. You've been marked. You were attacked early, but now you're awakening. And that's what hell is afraid of. Have you ever thought to yourself, maybe something's wrong with me? Because you feel things too deeply. You sense things others don't. You cry over pain no one else notices. You feel heavy in rooms where no one's talking. You walk into places and just know something is off, and people don't get it. They call you too sensitive, too emotional, too intense, too spiritual, too much. So eventually, you believed them. You tried to shut it down. You tried to silence your discernment. You tried to turn off the gift. But let me speak this clearly. You are not crazy. You are called. At what the world calls too sensitive, God calls discerning. What others mock as too intense, God says anointed. What feels like emotional overload is actually spiritual awareness. You're picking up on things because your spirit is tuned to another frequency. You were designed to see what others miss, to feel what others ignore, to sense what others dismiss. That's not madness, that's mantling. To think about the prophets. They were misunderstood, rejected, laughed at, thrown into pits, exiled from cities. Why? Because they heard what others couldn't hear. They felt what others refused to feel, and they spoke what others were afraid to say. That's the price of being called, but also the privilege. You don't belong in every room, because your spirit doesn't blend with everything around you. You don't think like the crowd because you weren't meant to move with it. You were set apart, not broken, not mistaken, set apart. And the more you try to suppress what God placed in you, the heavier life becomes, because ignoring the call is heavier than answering it. Romans 11:29 says, "The gifts and the calling of God are irrevocable." You can't pray it away. You can't run from it forever. You can't unmark what heaven has already sealed. So stop hiding. Stop shrinking. Stop apologizing for who God made you to be. You're not too much. You're not unstable. You're not making it up. You're called. You're gifted. You're rising. And this world desperately needs what you've been trying to suppress. It's time to stop questioning your mind and start trusting your mantle. You are not crazy. You're chosen. Let me tell you something sacred. The weight you carry is not wasted. The heaviness, the pressure, the silent battles, the tears you never let anyone see. It's not meaningless. It's not punishment. It's preparation. You've been asking God to take the weight away. But what if the weight is what's building you? What if the burden is birthing boldness? What if the pressure is forming power? Romans 8:18 says, "I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us." That means the heavier it feels, the greater the glory. You're not being buried. You're being planted. And planted things feel dark. They feel forgotten. They feel hidden. But hidden doesn't mean abandoned. It means developed. What grows underground becomes unshakable above ground. Right now, God is stretching your capacity, building your endurance, strengthening your spirit, sharpening your hearing. Because what's coming is bigger than what you've ever carried before. And if He allowed this pressure, it's because He plans to trust you with power. Look at Jesus. Before the cross, there was the crushing. Before the throne, there was the tomb. Before glory came Gethsemane. Even He had to carry a weight before He walked in the fullness of heaven's promise. So don't curse the weight. Consecrate it. Lay it before God and say, if this is what it takes, prepare me. If this is the road, strengthen me. If this is part of my calling, refine me. Because glory is coming. You may feel tired. You may feel hidden. You may feel overwhelmed. But you're not breaking. You're becoming. So lift your eyes, chosen one. The tears you cried in secret will be seen in public restoration. The battles you fought in silence will echo in testimonies across generations. The weight you carried in the dark is producing a glory that will shine like the sun. So don't give up now. Don't walk away from the process, because the crushing you're enduring is creating oil, and that oil will anoint your next season. You are not just tired, you are trusted. You are not just marked, you are mantled. And the glory, it's already in motion. Now you know. You weren't just born, you were sent. You weren't just chosen, you were marked. And everything you've carried, every heavy day, every lonely night, every unseen battle, has been building something inside of you that this world cannot take away. So don't shrink, don't apologize, don't let the weight make you forget the glory that's coming. Instead, say this with me. I am not broken, I am called. I am not crazy, I am anointed. I am not cursed, I am marked. And what God marks, hell cannot cancel. If this word spoke to your spirit, comment, I've been marked below. Let the world know you're still standing, you're still rising, you're still chosen. And don't keep this to yourself. Share this with someone who's been feeling the weight alone. They need to hear it too. Until next time, keep walking like you know who you are. You've been marked, and heaven is watching you walk into glory.